Hey there, and welcome to Have Fun, Be Nice, Do Good Work. I'm Katie, and today I'm going to share my 25 for 25 list. 25 for 25 comes to us from Gretchen Rubin and Elizabeth Kraft. They host a podcast together called Happier. Gretchen Rubin is the author of The Happiness Project, The Four Tendencies, and many other books. And her sister, Elizabeth Kraft, is a screenwriter. And their podcast is wonderful. Check it out. But every year they make a list, 25 items for the year 2025 for this year. And the idea behind the list is less about setting goals and New Year's resolutions and more about curating a life of fun, of whimsy, reminding yourself of all of the things you'd like to be doing. As I've looked at Gretchen Rubin's social media, I don't think she's ever actually completed one of her lists. So the idea is definitely not, here are all the things I will do. The idea is like, my life needs a little more fun, it needs a little more whimsy, maybe it needs more movement, it needs more whatever, and you add it to the list in a way that is less pressure and more playful. I started this last year with a 24 for 24 list with my siblings. I will be doing a video recapping that, but I'm giving myself a few more weeks just to close up some things. You might actually see in the background a couch with a needle sticking out of it, and that's because one of the items on my 24 for 24 list is to visibly mend our couch, and I am mid-mend right now. So in a couple weeks, I plan to do a video recapping my 24 for 24. So if that sounds interesting, subscribe and turn on the notification so you can find out when that video is coming out. In creating my 25 for 25 list, I looked back at my 24 list and just checked on what went really well, what brought a lot of joy to my life, and what fell flat. For me, the things that really fell flat mostly fell in this category of goal at the end of the year without a real process attached to it. And they didn't go as well. So I have taken that into consideration for my 25 list. The things that really just brought so much joy to my daily life were those things that were adding fun, adding whimsy, easy one-offs, and things that were very process-oriented. So I took that into consideration, and I think my 25 list is even better than my 24, and I'm really excited for it. Okay, in no particular order except the order that they're written down in front of me, here's my 25 for 25. Number 1, post 25 YouTube videos. You are going to see the number 25 a lot in this list. It's just such a great number, and it's for a year-long event. It's like enough to really feel like you did it, but not so much that it feels like a lot of pressure. So 25 is where we are. And here's one of them. That's great. Number 2, make 25 purple hats. There's a charity knit project called Click for Babies, and it's a campaign by the National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome. The reason the hats are purple is because the campaign is educating new parents on the period of purple crying, a time in some babies' lives when they cry a lot, often for what seems like no reason, and there seems to be no end. The knitted hats are given out to new parents with information about purple crying, so they aren't caught off guard if their child goes through a period of purple crying. Number 3, Book 6 recital. I grew up playing Suzuki violin. My mom was a Suzuki violin teacher, and she taught at home. So that meant that I grew up hearing Suzuki songs all the time, and it got pretty old. So by the time I got to book 5, I was so over it. I didn't want to play any of that music, and my mom, being a wonderful teacher, she found other music for me to learn that would help teach me the same pedagogical lessons. Now, as an adult, as someone who is a musician by trade but is not a violinist full-time, I see the value of that music, and I have so much nostalgia around it. So I've decided to go back through the books and learn them. Book 5 was on my list for last year, and I am almost ready to give my recital. I will update you on that soon. I'm hoping to give that recital in the first quarter of the year and then start working on book 6. Book 6 is my favorite book, actually, so I can't wait to do this one. I'm really excited. Number 4, take Lacey on... Oh no. She's right here. I can't say it. Number 4 is to take Lacey on 25 WALKS. She can't spell. It's okay. We've already gone on two snowy ones this year. That might seem crazy. You have a dog, you should take him on a walk. But we have a huge backyard. The dogs go to daycare a lot. And last year I struggled with some plantar fasciitis, which if you've had that, you know how painful it is. And walking really exacerbated it. Oh, I said it. I said the word. Okay, she didn't notice. It's okay. She doesn't understand it as a gerund. So the idea is to take her on a bunch. She's just looking at me. It's like she knows. Number 5 comes directly from my 24 for 24 list. Last year, I said I wanted to do 1 real push-up by the end of the year. 1 real push-up means on the floor, on my toes, go all the way down, impeccable form. That is a lifelong challenge for me, physically, but also mentally. A little bit of baggage feels like a strong word, but maybe it's the right word when it comes to push-ups. And it all started the Georgia's Junior Miss pageant, the Georgia's Junior Miss scholarship program, which I did when I was in high school. And instead of a swimsuit competition, they had a fitness competition. So you'd be on stage doing like jumping jacks and cardio. And my mom had done Junior Miss when she was in high school many, many, many years before. And she said, don't worry, it's just a little cardio. You'll be fine. At the time, I was an avid Irish dancer. So I felt great, like I could do this. And then I got there and we had to do push-ups. Guess what Irish dancers don't use? Their upper body. So I couldn't do them at all. And it's forever burned into my memory, the sound of my brother chuckling in the audience. Like I could hear him as I was like, trying to do a push-up. So thus begun my only hate relationship with push-ups. So this year I changed the goal. I don't like to use the word goal, but we're gonna call it a goal. This year I changed it to 25 push-ups a day. Now, these can be any kinds of push-ups. They can be on the floor, they can be on my knees, they can be on the wall, they can be on a counter. It doesn't matter. I started 2025 with the flu, the honest to God flu. And those days I did push-ups standing almost completely upright against the wall, just so I could say I did my 25 push-ups because I did not have the strength to do anything more. And I did them. This is a great reminder for me that this is the kind of goal setting and motivation that works for me, because instead of this faraway goal that seems like I could never do it, I have a very attainable thing to do every day. I haven't even done it every day. I've missed a couple days, which is fine, but I've already done hundreds of push-ups this year. It's great. So it's training my muscles and also desensitizing that part of my brain that's like, push-ups, ew. So 25 push-ups a day. Number 6, celebrate 25 unusual holidays. This just seemed like a fun, whimsical thing to do to help bring in a little bit more joy into random days. So I found a list online. I wrote down all the ones that I thought were interesting, and then I narrowed it down by picking 1 for each month and then a second for each month. I think September ended up with 3 and December ended up with only 1 because December already has a lot of holidays. This month, I'm going to celebrate Squirrel Appreciation Day by making dinner for my husband and me. That is a dinner I think squirrels would like. A nice, warm harvest salad with a lot of different kinds of nuts in it. Just so you get an idea of the whimsy factor, the list includes things like put a pillow on your fridge day or Hobbit day. I won't go through the whole list, but if that sounds intriguing to you, you can check it out over on Instagram. My Instagram is Have Fun, Be Nice, Do Good Work, and that's where I'm posting all of my weird holidays. I've already done Learn Your Name in Morse Code Day. Number 7, add a Michelin restaurant to my list with my husband. My husband and I do this every year. We try to visit 1 Michelin restaurant, and what more needs to be said? Delicious food. Number 8, visit the Chandelier Bar in Vegas. This is at the Cosmopolitan, and it is a 3-story bar restaurant that is inside a chandelier. I have been obsessed with chandeliers as long as I can remember. I had a chandelier in my room as a little girl. I had an old voice teacher who had a chandelier in every room of her house. And I remember thinking, that's what it is to have made it. Have a chandelier even in your tiny, tiny guest bathroom. Anyway, I'm super stoked. I'm going to Vegas for work anyway. We're staying on the Strip, so I can just walk down and check out this bucket list travel item. Number 9, low by year. Last year I did a low by January and it was really successful, but then I spent the rest of the year making up for it, I think. So this year I'm doing a whole year of low by, and I'm not going to get into it. I have a whole video of what is going to go into it, what my rules are. So check out the channel if you want to see more about that. Number 10, complete my wallflowers blanket. I started this blanket last year. It's an incredibly intricate crochet blanket, 16 different colors, a ton of different textures. It's amazing. The blanket is really fun, but it's also big and difficult to take with me places. And I get a lot of my knitting and crochet done while sitting around at work waiting for something or on a bus. This is a little bit hard to do that with. So I have to make it more intentional to finish it. It is one of those huge projects that could easily be put on the back burner for many years, and I want to make sure that I get it done in a timely manner. Number 11 is give a 100% tip. I did this last year. It was one of the most fun things I've ever done in my entire life, and so I'm doing it again. Probably not at the Michelin restaurant though. Number 12, get 2 body scans to track muscle growth. I'd like to work on building muscle. I'm a woman in my mid-40s, and you know what that means. I'm thinking longevity, and muscle growth, muscle maintenance is one of the best things that women my age can do for our quality of life moving forward. So I'm gonna do at least two body composition scans. I've already done one, so I'm 50% of the way there. Realistically, I'll probably do 3 or 4, but again, this is all about being attainable. The next 3 are all connected. 13 is 250 lifetime cycling classes. 14 is 350 lifetime strength classes. And 15 is a 104-week streak on Peloton. Last year, I did a 52-week streak on Peloton. The idea being, sometimes we fall off the exercise wagon, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I think it's been maybe like 2 months since I've looked at my Peloton. This way I just kept coming back to it, really thinking long game for fitness and health. So this year, those numbers of 250 lifetime cycling, 350 lifetime strength classes, they roughly equate to 2 classes per week in each area, which I think is perfectly reasonable. I have no time limits associated with this. Again, this list is about encouragement and things being extremely doable. So if I take a 10-minute strength class, that works. Also, some of those 10-minute bar classes with Hannah, if you know, you know. They are hard. They're hard. I like the combo of the streak, the weekly streak with the total classes, because it helps me make it a part of my weekly schedule, but also it's going to help me gently increase the volume of workouts I'm doing. Number 16, sew and wear 3 new garments from my fabric stash. Last year I took a sewing class and I made a really cute dress, which I'm so proud of. I made a t-shirt, which was like my final project for the class. Sewing is really hard and so fun. So fun. So I'm looking forward to encouraging myself to make more things. Now the trick here is I have to wear them because I have to sew them and they have to be good enough for me to wear in public. Because I've made a couple things that were not like epic disasters, but I made them absolutely the wrong size and I don't know how to fix them. There's a lot in there for me. So 3 is actually a pretty big number. Number 17, visit the Merry-Go-Round Museum. The Merry-Go-Round Museum that we're going to is in Sandusky, Ohio. There are several carousel and merry-go-round museums around the country, but this one looks really fun. We're planning a road trip to Ohio anyway, and so we're gonna head up to Sandusky to check it out. I have always loved carousels, and one of the greatest successes and additions to my life that came from the 24 for 24 list was that I visited two carousels, two historic carousels, and I started a list of carousels. I am now a card-carrying member of the National Carousel Association. I think I visited something like 12 carousels last year, and I have a list of hundreds of carousels to go see. So I'm officially a carousel nerd, and the list last year helped me acknowledge that I was a carousel nerd and gave me permission to do it. Number 18 is to blow bubbles. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just fun. It's silly. It's easy. And also it's one of those things that brings joy to almost everyone. I don't personally know anybody who doesn't like bubbles, who isn't filled with glee when they see bubbles, but I'm sure they exist. I'll be sensitive to that before I begin blowing bubbles. Number 19, do a silent retreat with my husband. I think I'd like to do this self-directed, not like go to a retreat center. And the idea is not that we're gonna like not speak to each other for 5 days, but rather go camping, go into the woods, go into nature, and just have periods of silence, away from electronics, but also not speaking out loud, just to be together. I actually started compiling some activities that we could do also if we find that it's overwhelming. One of them is like shadow drawing, where you put a shadow on your page and then you draw it. But we might just end up sitting and reading and knitting, which is what we normally do when we go camping. 20 is earn my volunteer ribbon. The past couple years, I've really been prioritizing volunteering in my weekly schedule, and I'm a member of the military, and so I would like to compile all of the volunteering that I've done to apply for a ribbon that would go on my uniform. Number 21, learn 5 new fiber art skills. I think this one's going to be a piece of cake because I am obsessed with knitting and crochet. But I think this helps me narrow down my epic list of projects I want to do so that I'm always looking to learn new skills instead of just finding one that I'm comfortable with. Number 22 is rent a convertible in California. I'm going on a work trip out there, and my husband's going to join me at the end. We're going to take a couple of days vacation and visit my family that lives out there. So I thought it'd be so fun to rent a convertible and drive up the coast with my husband. Okay, number 23 is to knit with dog fur, which maybe sounds simple or maybe sounds crazy. It has a lot of steps to it. So this is one I'm going to have to stay on top of throughout the year to make sure that I'm making progress. Because if I get to December and I still haven't figured out how to do all of the steps, I'm not going to get it done. I did take a spinning class last year where I learned how to spin wool into yarn, and I've tried with the dog fur, and I've made some very lumpy yarn. But you know what? I use that yarn and we put it in our garden, and it's the first year that the squirrels have completely left our tomatoes alone. So pro tip, if you have a Great Pyrenees, just make some yarn and put it in your garden. So based on what I did last year in my yarn spinning and knitting journey, I think what I'm going to do this year is aim to, at the bare minimum, make a wool Great Pyrenees blend, which will be easier to spin than just Great Pyrenees fur. I am also, in case you're curious, not planning on making garments out of this because people have dog allergies, and that just seems like mean to wear a hat that's going to give people an allergy attack. So I think my like dream goal for the year is to make a Christmas tree ornament knit out of dog fur and wool. I'll keep you posted. 24 is to make a recipe out of our family recipe book. When my husband and I got married, my stepdaughter gave me a gift of a family cookbook. She contacted all of my family members and all of my husband's family members and gathered recipes and put them together in a custom wooden cover. It's really beautiful, and it was so thoughtful. I mean, she was only 9 when we got married, so it was just a very special thing. And it's just been sitting on the shelf, and we look at it, we think it's really beautiful. Let's make a recipe. So I'm going to try a new recipe this year from the book for one of our family dinners. Last but certainly not least, go to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I live in Maryland, so this is near me, and it happens to fall on a long weekend off from work. So, I mean, it's perfect. All right, that's 25. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this lengthy list. If you're interested in getting updates on my 25 list, check out my Instagram or follow along here on YouTube. Until next time, have fun, be nice, and do good work.